welcome to another edition of The Road to the Dome. I am Chase Lejeune. Alongside me is my boss, the boss man, Andy Bryson, filling in for Marcus today. And Andy, first of all, before we even get started with anything, just want to say I'm glad that you're back. I'm glad that Kristen's fine and she's all better, and we get to actually talk some football this week.
Yeah, God is good. He pulled through that mess last week, so God is good.
Yeah, all the time, God is good. That's for sure. And Andy, this is really the best part of the season. This is why I get so excited for talking about the playoffs.
You and me both. I enjoy the playoffs because it gives it all that build up from December to August, and then you go, throughout the season is just trying to find where you're gonna land at. Because ultimately, what every team starts off with, they all start off with that dream to the dome. They all want to play in the Superdome. Every kid we interview, every kid we talk to, that's all they want to say. I want to play in the state championship. I want to be a state champion. I want to be a state champion. Well, this is what it's about. Now it's that one game elimination. Each week could be the last week you play football, especially for some of these seniors. This could be the last time you ever put a football uniform on. So every week has that new meaning, like, hey, I got to do my very, very best. So this is the best football you can get out of high school.
Yeah, it's win or go home. I mean, it's really no tomorrow when you're looking at it, and I mean, that's the way simple it is. I mean, if you don't score enough points in the other team, then your season's over. There's no okay, there's always next week. There's no next week.
Right.
So, but yeah, we had a good time with myself and Marcus last week, and we before we even get started, we talking about the brackets, Andy. It was interesting last week. I think we set off Twitter, but based on what we were talking about last week.
Apparently, y'all may upset somebody, and somebody got their panties in a wad and wound up reporting on Twitter that you guys have put on some kind of pornography on our Facebook on our Twitter page. So I mean, apparently that person's now been kicked off Twitter. So, but I don't know. I mean, I tell people this all the time. What are you gonna do when you're up against a wall? Are you gonna sit down and just quit, or are you gonna I mean, pardon the expression, but man up? Are you gonna man up and fight that and climb that wall? We're all faced with with challenges in our life. We're all faced with obstacles we've got to overcome. And the playoffs is no different. You've got a team that just because you think it's going to be my last game, every player on that team is saying the exact same thing. So you got a wall you got to climb. So why get mad about it? Just figure out a way to overcome that wall. Figure out how what it takes to win. Figure out what it takes to get that extra. Apparently we have a guest.
We have a special guest in Sadie. Sadie's going up and close. And
so you just got to figure out how to overcome that barrier. How to overcome that wall that's in front of you. Like last week, somebody got upset and they wound up turning us in, and I'm assuming it was a team that you guys did not pick to win. Chances are good that team probably is out of the playoffs now, because they put more stock into an opinion-based show versus preparing for a game.
Yeah, as a coach personally, and you're a coach as well, Andy. But if I was a coach, I would want to be picked against, because it gives my team more fuel for the fight.
I mean, just look at this look at gridiron football. What we've done with gridiron football. I was picked against my whole life. People told me I was never going to go to college. People told me I was never going to be nobody. People told me that I would never amount to more than what my family was. I now own Gridiron Football. We're in all 50 states. I mean, we within you see the magazine, you see the stats. Within hours of the magazine going live on our website, it's in 18, 20 countries in 2 or 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I think yesterday alone we were in all 50 states within a few hours of getting up in the morning. We get up, drink our coffee, and next thing you know, we check our stats. So, I'm a graduate of LSU. I started my master's at Southeastern. So, just because somebody bets against you, I find that is motivating. Mm-hmm. Whenever I'm a coach and somebody tells me that somebody's picked against my team, man, I'm telling you one thing. I'm gonna spend a few extra hours at practice or film study just to break down where is their weakest link. I'm going to attack that weakest link of my defensive line. Yep. That's just me. That's my mentality. That's where I've come from. Some people aren't that built that way, but I am. I know Marcus is as well.
Yeah, he is. And I mean, you're going to fight or you're going to fall or you're going to fold. I mean,
It's fight or flight.
Fight or flight. Right. So and this comes at a perfect time with the playoffs, and that's what we're talking about, and that's what we love talking about. And Andy, we'll get started. We'll talk about all these big matchups.
Some big ones.
Some really big ones. And like myself and Marcus, what we talked about last week, we're seeing a lot of these really big matchups. Even starting with the first round. I mean, we have like a quarterfinal, semifinal pair with Woodlawn and Brother Martin. That's like a quarterfinal, semifinal matchup, and you get to see that round one. So we've seen a lot of these tough matchups earlier in the playoffs. We don't have to wait until like the semis or the dome to find out those matchups. We'll talk about, so we'll have select and non-select like we did last week. So this is quarterfinals now, and if you're practicing during Thanksgiving week, you're a pretty good football team. And that's pretty much yeah. So all these teams are practicing on Thanksgiving week, and because they are given their time for Thanksgiving week, they could be with their families and everything. That they want to win it even more because they don't want to put that to waste. That you're practicing Thanksgiving.
Well, could you imagine getting up after lunch on Thursday after eating 16 pounds of a 12-pound bird and then going to football practice that afternoon?
Oh yes, but
that tryptophan inside you.
Yeah, it's not the best feeling, but I'm sure the players want it traded because that means they get an opportunity to go for the road to the dome, and this is what it's all about. Well, Andy, we'll break it down. We'll start off with Division 4. So this is the first matchups when we talk about the select and the non-select here.
Yeah, I like the Kentwood Oak Grove game because like you were saying, that's a state championship game in itself. Oak Grove have got several state championships in recent years. I mean,
I think it's 15 between the two, 15 state championships.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of championships there, and there's a lot of talent that's come out of those two schools. A few years ago, we had a young man in the bowl game that was from Oak Grove. He wound up playing at Kansas. We got guys out of Kentwood is playing at LSU. So I mean, great programs, great matchup this week. We have kids from both those teams. I think registered for the bowl game this year.
Yeah.
Or at least invited. I know we have two guys from Oak Grove in the bowl game this year.
Yeah, they just committed.
Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. So I mean, what is your thoughts on this game?
Well, I think, when you have these two teams, both these two teams played each other in the state championship game just a couple of years ago, and Oak Grove, we talk about Marcus trains with them a lot, and it's Jackson Bradley with their quarterback, and we usually associate Oak Grove with running the football, but they've shown they can throw the football this year, and they played a really tough schedule. Kentwood, I saw Kentwood one game this year against Amy. It came in a loss, but I was very impressed with Kentwood, and I can really see whoever wins this matchup potentially. They could go and win the state championship this year.
Yeah, in this bracket, I look at this one of these two teams going to the state championship. Now, I'm going to pick Oak Grove over Kentwood.
I agree with you.
Just because I think they have a lot of talent at Oak Grove. They got a good run game, like you said. Jackson Bradley, the quarterback. They have a good receiver. And an outstanding defense. So they have every level of the game covered at Oak Grove. Kentwood again, like you said, is a good program, but I just don't think they're at that point of beating Oak Grove this year.
Yeah.
I may be wrong.
Yeah, I
Then again, I
agree.
was wrong about LSU this year. I know you and Marcus haven't let me hear it.
Right, right. But I do agree with you, Andy. I really like Oak Grove, and I think the quarterback position is going to make a difference in this football game. We moving on to Haynesville and Brazil. Both teams really like to run the football. I know Haynesville is.
This is going to be a fast game.
Yeah, a really fast game. Might be 2 hours.
I would say that it would be an hour and a half with that 20-minute halftime.
Yeah, yeah.
That's true. So I mean, this is going to be a really fast game. I like Basile in this game.
Okay.
Because they're a run hard, they're a run heavy team.
Mm-hmm.
They have a decent sized line, and that's where the battle is really won at. I know you're probably going to pick Haynesville in this game.
Yeah.
But I like Basile's chances in this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Haynesville. I like David Franklin, and I know that him and his dad, Red Franklin, they become the first father-son duo to win more than 200 games in high school football history. So that's pretty impressive. And they're used to going. Another team that's used to going to a lot of state championships, and I'm gonna go with that experience.
And one thing you're gonna realize throughout the bracket is that I'm always gonna pick the nowhere town school.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm from that nowhere town school.
Well,
we all can't be from Catholic, you know.
Yeah,
from
right.
Baton Rouge.
Well, there's a lot of small town teams when we got the 1A.
Right.
So that's the top side of the bracket. Bracket. We're going to go to the bottom side here in Division 4. In Mangum, they're led by a really good running back in Jalen Williams, like 36 touchdowns this year. But he's banged up the last game. So
I saw him play last year against General Trask, and I don't think that. I'll be honest with you, the kid is super fast. He's a 4.4 kid, a legitimate 4.4 kid. I maybe even faster if he's off that grass field.
Yeah.
But I seen this kid play last year, and he is the real deal. I also like Trey Massey, their big offensive lineman they have, plays both ways. They have a lot of talent at Mangum, and playing against Arcadia again is another talented program.
Right.
I like Mangum in this matchup just because of the running back and the size of the line. I mean, Mangum has a Division I line. I mean, they're 6'2", 6'3" across the board at every position. So I like Mangum in this game.
Yeah, I like Mangum in this game. I think before the bracket even came out, I picked Mangum to win the whole thing. So I got to ride with Mangum right now with their running back and Jalen Williams and with that big offensive line, like you mentioned, led by Trey Massey. Arcadia, they're coming off a hard-fought game. Maybe the emotions. They played White Castle in double overtime and came out with a win like
White
that.
Castle, I mean, you can't really look at it as an emotional game because White Castle is extremely talented. They have a lot of athletes down in Plaquemine, and they play really good.
Yeah.
I mean, you never got to rule White Castle out of a game. They're always going to be there.
Yeah, right. And like it came down to 2 overtimes in order to pull that game out. My dad was actually at that game. He tried to see White Castle and Arcadia, and it was a really good football game. And then the last matchup, this was actually a familiar matchup we saw in the Dome last year. This was a rematch of the state championship between Logansport and Homer. And Homer came out with the win last year. Andy, do you think that Logansport gets revenge or Homer repeats in that football game?
I think Homer is gonna pull this one here out. I like the champs in this game. I say the champs because there's three of them playing for them, and all three of them, we've invited all three of them to the bowl game.
Yeah.
This is a really good game. Logansport is always an elite program. I see them probably at least once a year when I go to Rosebud. But Logansport has a lot of talent. They're really fast. They run the ball a lot. And Homer again, big strong linebacker and Devontae Champ. I'm sorry, Waltez Champ.
Right.
I'm saying this.
They got a bunch of champs for.
But Waltez Champ is a big time linebacker. I really like that young man. Has the body of frame to be an FCS style linebacker. Maybe even bigger.
Right.
I like the running game with Homer as well as their offensive line size.
Yeah, lots of
Again, I was a line coach. I'm always going to go. Where is the line? Who has the depth and the size to be physical front?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go with Logansport on an upset here just because I think just seeing that score all year long, you're lifting weights all year long. You're seeing this is a team that prevented you from winning a state championship. And this is an experienced group. I know their quarterback, Boykins, is back from last year. Their wide receiver, Javen Claybrook, I did a dime in the rough on him. He's a really good football player. Kind of does a little bit of everything for that team.
That was your first dime in the rough.
First time in the rough.
That you did here.
Yeah, that's where I was. That's what it was. So and they came off defeating a really good East Feliciana team, which I covered. So I really see this being a really good football game, though. With both teams, this should be a really exciting football game to watch.
But this is like a state championship. This is a state championship game here in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, yep. So, a lot of really good matchups, and it should be exciting because, these semifinal matchups, whoever comes out of these quarterfinals, they deserved it because they got some pretty good matchups here in the quarterfinals.
So, are you still going with Mangum in the state championship game, looking at that game and looking at the Oak Grove Kentwood game?
Yeah, so I have, if you look at the top of the bracket as far as coming out of the state championship, I have Oak Grove playing Mangum coming out of that state championship. I'm not sure if you agree with that or not, but that's what
you can't go wrong with that one because, like I said, Mangum's a really strong program in this bracket. But I like Homer.
Okay.
I think it's going to be probably Oak Grove and Homer in the state championship game.
Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised either way. I wouldn't not be surprised either way.
Then again, Kentwood can always
can always play.
They're the kind of dark horse in the whole situation. Where they fall in this. Because Oak Grove has to go on the road. And you got to take that. You got to take that bus from north of Monroe all the way down to the
Kentwood.
20. Take it from 20 over to Jackson all the way down 59 to get to.
It's a long drive.
It's a long drive. You're looking at about 3.5 hour drive. So I do it all the time. But it's a good drive. So how does Oak Grove respond to that? Being on the road like that. Now, typically, a lot of people say, well, that's no big deal, but it does play a part. It does play a part when you sit on a bus for 3 hours, cramped up next to another fat guy, and you're sitting in your warm-up pants, So it does play a part.
Yeah, but it should be good either way. That's a really intriguing match, really bracket to look at. Now we'll go up to Division Three non-select. Non-select and Andy, we're gonna go with that's the bottom. This is the top. Let's see, making sure I'm just wiggling my way through here. All right, there we go. There I am. I'm navigating pretty. It took me a while, but I got there. Manny and Rose Pine, and we have to start off with that.
Yeah.
We have to.
Yeah, so I was at the Rose Pine game a few weeks ago. We when they played. I'm drawing a blank now. 2 weeks.
Was it
ago.
in the monsoon?
It was a monsoon. I mean, we got there. I got there around 4 o'clock. I was sitting there,
Red River.
Yeah, Red River. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting there with the coaches and we was talking and everything. And next thing you know, I look up and the sky is it was just dark all from the north side, and it was just rolled in. And next thing you know, about 5:30, the bottom let loose and it just, the cats and dogs came out.
Yeah, right.
And so it rained for a solid, I would say probably a good hour and a half there. If you've never been to Rose Pine's a great place. I'm from there.
Mm-hmm.
I tell everybody we have a population of 600, that includes 500 head of cattle. So I mean, it's the big metropolis there.
Yeah.
But and Marcus didn't believe me until I drove him to Rose Pine. Now, and the cow pasture's still out front of the school.
Yeah, right.
But anyways. The Rose Pine, the football field there, it's a big sponge. It's about a 2-inch thick, grass. It's a beautiful field from the stands, but on the field, it's a sponge. It's gonna hold if it just sprinkles a little bit, it's gonna hold that water.
Oh yeah.
So if you expect to throw the ball
Mm-hmm.
at Rose Pine after it rains, your game plan is gonna be messed up.
Mm-hmm.
If you go there and you've got a speed back, and after a rain.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be an average running back.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to get the cuts. You're not going to get that speed, that top end speed that you typically would have.
Mm-hmm.
So this week, going against Manny, looking at what's going to happen, and I'm telling you right now, it's probably going to rain. I mean, the weatherman is predicting rain later, later this week.
Yep.
So looking at where it's going to be played at and everything, I'm not gonna say Rose Pine is gonna win this game.
Right.
What I'm saying is that Rose Pine is the
It's
only.
going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think.
I'm gonna put it like this: I think Rose Pine's a team in this year's bracket that can beat Rope Manning.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
And that's saying a lot because you thought last year they have Ethan Fry, who was an LSU committee.
yeah, right.
He's now hitting homers for LSU right now.
Yeah.
Ethan Fry was a great quarterback, but Jake Smith has picked up the reins. And I was talking to Nikki Churchman, she's the local doctor there, and I was talking to her, and she says this is the best quarterback Rose Pine's ever had, and that's over Ethan Fry from last year. And no disrespect to Ethan, but Jake has just been able to go out there and make better.
That's some high praise.
Make some really good reads this year. And then you have guys like Isaiah Stinson, who's a legitimate prospect. He's a D2. Maybe a FCS prospect, great receiver, can catch everything, even a cold across the middle. And then you got guys on defense like Aiden Klein. He's kind of their Swiss Army knife who can kick the ball, punt the ball. I mean, it's not like he's just go out there and just punt the ball 5 yards.
Right.
He blew that thing last week of 40-something yards.
Mm-hmm.
So you got guys like that who he's also a starting safety. You have a Bryson Meeks. Again, he showed from one of my camps in this last year.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with him how to flip his hips and make him go better in pass protection. Right. And this year he's dominated the defense with tackles.
Mm.
Grant Ducote, a great running back. I mean, I want to see where he comes from. Last week, and the reason I'm saying all this, it's not that I'm just praising Rose Pine. It's that last week they beat
Westlake.
Westlake.
Yeah.
Westlake, in my bracket, I had no way Westlake was going to lose to Rose Pine.
Mm-hmm.
Westlake is a seasoned program.
Yep.
They are a bigger program. They have a tradition of winning.
Yeah.
They're in
John Richardson's a good coach over there.
right, and I mean they are a phenomenal program.
Mm-hmm.
Rose Pine didn't go to the playoffs for his first time until 2000 or 2001.
Mm-hmm.
I graduated in 2000. We never even seen the playoffs. We couldn't even pay the referees enough money to win a football game, nevertheless to go to a playoff.
Yeah.
Here, saying Westlake lost to Rose Pine, I know it was a close game and all, but that's a big victory.
Oh yeah.
Now you've got another big time program, historical strong program, has built that program
A
right.
powerhouse. Yeah.
I mean, he has a great feeder program for those junior high in Manning, and they feed that the high school. So he's built a great program there. That's why he's here every single year. That's why he's always in the quarterfinals, the semifinals, or even in the finals.
Right.
That's why he's there.
Mm-hmm.
Rose Pine, looking at what they've done, yes, they lost to Vols. Vols won the district championship
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago. But I think Rose Pine, where they're sitting at, playing Manny at home, and knowing that it should rain on Friday, this slows Manny down. Manny has this again is going to be a fast game.
Yep.
Both teams like to run the ball a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Grant Ducote now holds the record for the most rushing yards in Rose Pine history.
Yep. Yep.
You look at the other side of the ball. You got Tackett. Tackett Curtis, who's committed to USC.
Yep.
He plays running back and linebacker for him. Grant Ducote plays running back and linebacker. The difference maker is that Jake Smith, the quarterback for Rose Pine, who's committed to play at Louisiana Tech for baseball, he can throw that ball.
Yeah.
Manny does not throw that ball.
Because Tackett's he's a linebacker, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to tackle him?
Yeah. Right.
If Rose Pine shows up, if it rains, soggy field, he's going to slow Tackett down.
It's going to be a low-scoring game.
It's going to be a low-scoring game.
Yep.
Now, because Rose Pine has those receivers, they have Bryson Meeks and they have Isaiah Stinson and they have Aiden Klein. Those three guys, not one of them has an offer, but they're all like Swiss Army knives. They can play football. I think all three of them are going to sign, D3 or D2 offers here this offseason. All three of them are coming to the bowl game, so all three of them are going to be. They're all going to be good prospects. Again, on the other side, you got Tackett, and they have some size in their line.
You got Joe Pryor's
They have Joe Pryor, who's actually my old head coach's nephew.
That's right.
Johnny Pryor.
Yep.
So that's Johnny Pryor and Bo Pryor, brothers. So I mean, yeah, they have Joe Pryor. He's 6'5", I think he is. And I saw him a few weeks ago. I saw him coach at Manny at the Rose Pine Red River game. And again, that was a game Rose Pine should have won. The Red River game.
Yep.
So I would still look at this matchup right here. If Manny comes out the victor, Manny's going to the state championship. I don't think there's nobody else going to beat Manny.
Yeah,
period.
I agree.
But if Rose Pine beats Manny, this is the state championship game.
Oh yeah.
This is in this bracket. I say this is the state championship matchup right here.
And Coach Cody has really built Rose Pine and done an excellent job.
Right.
Back-to-back quarterfinal appearances.
Well, like I said, Manny's about an hour and a half, maybe, depending on how you drive and how many Barneys are out there on patrolling. Depending on it's only about an hour north of Rose Pine. Well, Jess and everybody, we're all good friends. Everybody knows everybody. Johnny Cryer, my old head coach, who was head coach at Rose Pine, went up to Manny, was a coordinator for him. Bo Cryer is a coordinator up there now. So I mean, it's a lot of family on that side of the state. So both these teams know each other. They both feed off each other, and I know Brad has built that Rose Pine program just like Manny did. He took the playbook out of Manny's hands. They've got a good feeder system at Rose Pine now. They're starting to bring kids up. They got a good junior high program. Rose Pine, go look at their junior high games. They're not losing a whole lot of games in junior high. Their playbooks are very similar. They've got the same a lot of good coaches. A lot of former players for Ducote are now coaching that junior high teams. So it's some good they're building a great program at Rose Pine. It's going to be tough to beat
Yeah.
in a few years. I mean, they already are.
Yeah,
I mean,
two
because
back-to-back quarterfinals was pretty
right. I mean,
pretty
they're
tough.
already getting tougher and tougher. If Michael Woods was in this game, I would give this game to Rose Pine hands down, because Michael Woods, the linebacker for Rose Pine, you're going to see him on Saturdays in an SEC jersey somewheres in the next 2 years. That young man, he is a difference maker at linebacker. And the SEC, I think he's going to end up playing in the SEC as a defensive back, as a safety. He's a 6'3", 200-pound linebacker for Rose Pine. If you go watch his film, and I challenge anybody to go watch Rose Pine's film with look at Michael Woods. You see him on kickoff returns. He's the first one down there and blowing people up all the way down the field. And you say, well, it's 2A, 3A. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
If you can play, you can play.
I mean, look at some of the guys at LSU and look at guys at Alabama. They sign 1A and 2A guys all the time as well.
I mean, look at Tackett. I mean, Tackett's playing 2A. 2A.
Yeah, he's going to USC.
He's going to USC. So. For me, I mean,
I'll be at that game, by the way.
Yeah, I know you'll be at that game. I know you'll be at that game.
In fact, I'm bringing my little mini-me with me. Me and Sam's gonna be there. I'll be there taking pictures. I'll be pushing the stroller around, letting him eat his goldfish, and we're gonna be at that Rose Pine game.
That's not a bad one to pick, and I'm gonna go with Manny just because every time that they've lost, they came short of winning a state championship. Every single time they come back and won it the year after that. So I think with Tackett leading this group, but they haven't given up a point. I found this stat to be crazy. They haven't given up a point since October 13th. So we're late November, so over a month they haven't given up a point. So I'm going to go with Manny. I think it's going to be a low score. It's going to be a tough physical football game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be about a 6-3 game.
It's going to be like a low scoring
12-7 game.
12-6. It's going to be low scoring. But I'm going to go with Manny. Until somebody knocks him down right now this year, I'm going to go with Manny.
Yeah, I got you. And there's no disrespect to the Jets, because like I said, just because I picked Rose Pine doesn't mean I think Manny's a horrible team. I picked Rose Pine because that's my home team,
Yep,
that's my alma mater.
Yep.
But I mean, that's just me.
And speaking of teams you're familiar with, Avoyelles, a team that did beat
Rose Pine for the district championship.
Their first district championship ever, and Andy Boone, probably the most unconventional coach in the entire state, because he doesn't punt. He doesn't punt. He onside kicks, and I mean, not bad strategy. If you keep the ball the entire game, nobody's going to beat you.
You play the odds. It's like the coach up in Arkansas. You just play the odds. I mean, if you're on a third down and you punt the ball, you have a 0% chance you're going to get the ball back, or a 1% chance they might fumble the ball. But if you go for it, at least you have a 50-50 shot.
Yeah.
So same thing on onside kicks. If you don't kick an onside kick, you have a 1% chance you get the ball back. Versus if you kick an onside, you have a 50-50 shot.
Yeah.
I mean, the odds are better if you just play. He's playing the odds. Do I blame him? No. I mean, that's kind of person I am. Because I mean, I play to win. I ain't playing for the fun of it. I'm playing to win.
Mm-hmm.
I take that back. Yeah, I ain't playing for the fun of it. but yeah, I'm playing to win. I mean, his job depends on him winning football games. Coaches, I mean, you work 12, was it 7 months out of the year just to play the 3 months?
Right.
4 months. So he's playing to win. I don't blame him one bit.
Yeah, and just look at it, they have the double tight.
Now, it's bit him in the butt a couple of times too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, you play, if it works out for you, it's going to go good for you. If it doesn't, it's not going to work out for you. It's just one of those things when you play that style of football. And Avoyelles, they've been close to being like a Manning, like the last couple of years.
I think
trying
they're
to
getting
get over the hump. Yeah. So
now Avoyelles did lose earlier this year to somebody, and I'm drawing a blank of who it was.
I went to see them against Southern Lab.
That's what it was. That's what it was. Southern Lab.
Yep, Southern Lab did beat them this year. But it's one of those things. If you can stop it, you prevent them from making at least 4th and 8, 4th and 9, because they're going to go for it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
If you put them in that type of situation, it's going to be hard for them to convert. But they're at 4th and 2, 4th and 1. I mean, it's hard to really stop that. But they have 3 really good running backs, and Carlos Bazard, Decarrion Sampson, Josh Williams. Like every day for Player of the Week show, there's always like at least one of Avoyelles running back
Or
on
two
that
or
list.
three.
2 or 3. There's 3 actually this week. So, and I looked up the stats. They're actually the number 1 offense in the state on scoring. So because of the way that they play.
Yeah.
But they're gonna have like a Southern Lab that had the athletes to really defend that. They're gonna have that tough challenge again because they're gonna have to play St. James.
Well, St. James also has a brand new coaching staff, completely new coaching staff. So, I mean, I would give the edge to a Vols in this game.
Yeah.
But St. James is a great program. I've seen St. James over the years. Valdez built that program up. Now he's coaching up at Grambling.
Yeah.
So St. James is a great program down in Verret. I can't pronounce it.
Verret. Yeah. Right.
So you're having two Cajuns in here can't pronounce.
Cajuns can't even pronounce where St. James plays. St. James Parish. Let's just go with that. Yeah. We butchered that.
Yep. I just butchered it.
But
send the hate mail to his address.
Yep. There we go. But Coach Davis taking over, like you said, new coaching staff. But Coach Davis actually took over for Coach Valdez before when it was at Scotlandville, and they made the Dome. And that was Coach Davis' first year over there, and right now they're in the quarterfinals, and they have a.
It's an immense game. I mean, if they can plug the gaps. I say this every week with these running teams.
Yeah, right.
Same thing with Rose Pine Manning. Same thing with Vols and St. James. You plug the gaps, and I'm not talking about big on big. I'm talking about take your man, put him in the gap, and turn the offensive lineman into the other gap. That way, your linebacker can step back and do a little bit of coverage and still have his gap to cover. And that way, if your running back's running down the line, he's able to bounce from gap to gap to gap. If you got all 8 gaps covered, there's nowhere for them to run. Because as soon as they get to the flat, you got a safety coming down to lay that big wood on them. Lay that big hit. So if you could cover the gaps against the Vols, you can beat them. And Southern Lab did that.
Yep.
They take their big guys up front, they turned them, put them in the gaps, and then that way the running backs bounce. Tackle for a loss.
Yep, and St. James, like Southern Lab, has the athletes on offense to really take advantage of it because you.
Now, Vols does not have a great defense.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you have the football, you actually get their best defense is their offense. The way they play keep away. So when you do get the football, you get those opportunities. You have to score because those opportunities may be cut in half. They usually touch the football in the normal game.
Yeah.
Normal setting.
If you want to go see a high scoring game, this is the game we're going to go to this week. Vols versus St. James is going to be a high scoring game. I would suspect it's going to be about a 35-27 game. 40 to 35 game.
Yep, and St. James got the Kai Prian, the LSU committed as well, so a lot of really good players on the team. I'm gonna agree with you. I got Voiles. I think the way they scheduled this year and how really aggressive they know that a lot of these guys. Carlos Bazar's a senior, even though the other 2 running back, Josh Williams is a senior too. So this is really the year for them to really make a run. And that's why they went for it all this year with the tough schedule that they played. So I'm gonna go. I agree with you. I'm gonna go with the Voiles, and I can definitely see a rematch of last year. That was last year's semifinal game. But Rosebond can definitely spoil it too. But that's what I got in the top side, the very tough top side of that bracket. So we go into the bottom side. Side of the bracket, and it's Union Parish and Patterson. 2 conflicting styles. I mean, Trey Holloway leads the entire state in rushing. Is all-time leading rusher in high school football history. But the team that leads the state in passing this year, out of all these great quarterbacks we talk about, is Patterson. So we have a team that throws the ball a whole lot against a team that runs the football a whole lot in this matchup.
It's going to be a good one as well. I would see Patterson actually with the edge in this game. I like you said Trey Holloway, and I like Union Parish up in Farmerville. But I would give the edge to Patterson because they have I think they have more athletes.
Mhm.
You know, Union Parish has a good core of guys, but I think Patterson has more. I think they just have more prospects. You know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Union Parish because I truly believe that in this time of year when it's cold, it's muggy, running the football and playing good defense is going to win you a lot in this time of year. And I'm gonna go with Trey Holly. As long as Trey Holly's running the football, I'm gonna go with Union Parish over a lot of teams. And I think with them losing to the state championship game last year has really fueled Trey Holly and all these guys to make one more run back. So I'm gonna go with Union Parish. But Patterson, like you said, they can throw the football. Kalen Davis has thrown for almost 3,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, and then the receiver Howard Kinchin, he leads the state in receiving. He has 1,300 yards receiving and 17 touchdowns. So
Wow.
they can definitely throw the football, and
Yes.
it's going to be it's going to be a big test for Union Parish secondary to try to keep up with that.
Yes, it is.
And we can talk about the last matchup. Amy, this is a team that we're not really surprised being in this situation before.
No, Coach Powell, I've coached against. I've been there on the sidelines with these games, you know, especially here when I was at Capitol. Coach Powell after the game will work his team out.
Yeah.
You know, because if he's gonna make sure those guys for every penalty they get caused in the game, they're running gassers after the game.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, wait, what? I literally turned around as me and Corey, we turned around when we was at Capitol and looked across the field, and A-Meat was running gassers across the field back and forth for every penalty yard they lost against us.
Wow.
Coach Powell has that program built. I mean, that program is going to be there every single year. Doesn't matter what's going on in the regular season. Doesn't matter if they go 6-4 or 7-3 or 5-5. If they make the playoffs,
they're dangerous.
They're dangerous.
Yeah.
I like A-Meat. I think it's going to be A-Meat versus either Manny or Rosepine.
Yeah.
Again, that's just where from that side of the bracket, I don't see either one of the two teams losing the quarter semifinals. However, this week they take on Berwick.
Yeah.
And Berwick's head coach
It's
tagged
kind of
us.
like the Cinderella of this bracket.
Yeah, he kind of tagged this morning and told us they're very hungry down there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm just they beat a very good Bogalusa
Very
team
impressive win. Yeah.
last week. I don't know. I mean, I think Coach Powell may have his hands full this week.
Yeah.
I mean, I see Amy winning this game, but I think
Me too.
I think they may end up having their hands full. I mean, I do not be surprised if Berwick pulls this out.
It's probably the worst thing that can probably happen to Amy because Amy played Bogalusa earlier this year and they lost to Bogalusa, and they're probably going for okay, we want that rematch, and they realize that Berwick won. Oh, okay, we got this now. This could really be the worst thing that could happen for them if you look at it that way. But Berwick, I mean, what a job Coach Mike Walker has done. I mean, this is I believe the first time they made the quarterfinals since the early '80s or something. It's been crazy that they've made it.
That's why I heard you got these stats on top of your head.
And
those years I was gone in the military, I wasn't able to keep up. but yeah, I wouldn't bet against Berwick this week.
Yeah.
I mean, this is gonna be a good game.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, I see Amy winning this game.
Me too.
However, I would not bet against Berwick. If I was, I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I wouldn't go say, here's $100 on Amy.
I wouldn't guarantee it, and really Amy needs to make sure that they're ready to go because Berwick is going to give them their best shot.
They're giving everybody their best this week.
Yeah, they're really playing with nothing to lose. If you think about it, it's like we're not favored to win. Let's just go prove them wrong. So and that's the way I see it. But the way I see it, I'm not sure if you agree or disagree. I mean, I know you agree with or disagree with Manny and Rosepine, but I can potentially see a Manny versus Union Parish state championship game. I know you may be different on that. I know you probably.
If Amy wins this in here, I don't think Union Parish beats Amy.
Okay. Yep. Gotcha.
So
you see Amy versus.
If Amy pulls this week out, if they beat the Cinderella story, I think I don't think Union Parish touches Amy.
Okay. Cool.
And the reason is just because Union, like I said, I like Union Parish. I like what they've done up there. but I don't think they have the athletes to go man for man for what for A-Meet has built.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be an interesting matchup. I mean, like those athletes at A-Meet and well,
Just think about
the key is stop Trey Holland.
Every top prospect that lives in the Hammond area, they don't go to Hammond High. I mean, I know Dorsett's trying to get those guys to come to Hammond High, but most of all those kids drive up to A-Meet. A-Meet is pulling and Coach Powell is not. I mean, he's not doesn't have to recruit. The school sells itself. The program there is a really good program. He's built a great program, put lots of kids in college, and that's what moms and dads want to see. What can you do for my kid? And that's what Coach Powell does up there. He's got a great coaching staff. Coach Henry Singleton is a good friend of mine. Coaches in our bowl game every year. Defensive line guy, played at LSU. You know, they have a great core of guys. And then you look at what they built up there. That junior high program. I say it again. You got Manny, Rose Pine, A-Meet. You want to build a successful program. I mean, look at what Woodlawn's doing. Woodlawn's built a great junior high program up. The Woodlawn the Junior Panthers.
Right.
So I mean, if you're not building up that junior high program to get those kids prepared for high school for that 8th, 9th grade year, you're losing out. Catholic does it with I'm drawing a blank of the other school they have in town. Yeah. But Catholic does it with their junior high program.
Yep.
So I mean, U High does it. I mean, if every one of these successful programs has a junior high program they have built up, and they've got good coaches at, and they're building those building blocks at a very early age. They're teaching hand placement, they're teaching eye placement, teaching how to flip those hips, how to create those strides, how to create that separation. You know, so how to make those good tackles. You know, so how to keep your head up when you go to make a tackle. Right. You know, how to keep your eyes up. So those junior high programs are essential in building a good football program. A lot of schools don't do that. I mean, it is what it is. But if you want to be successful in high school football, you've got to start at a young age and start building that up.
Look at St. Thomas More. Look at John Curtis. I mean, they really groomed those kids.
Every successful program in the state, Calvary Baptist, OCS, Opelousas Catholic, every single program that has been any success, West Monroe, every Zachary.
Right.
As we keep going, I'm thinking new. Ash. You know, every one of these programs has a junior high program. They have that the head coach goes down and talks to the head coach of the junior high team, and they have a great working relationship, and they build that program ready so those kids to go from 7th and 8th grade to that 9th grade level. They play that freshman football. They're already in the system for 2-3 years already. So by the time they hit that sophomore year, by the time they hit that varsity level,
their experience,
they've already got it's nothing new. They're not teaching them plays. They're not teaching them hand placement. They're not teaching them eye placement. They're not teaching nothing. They're perfecting what they already know. And there's a big difference when you got kids coming into high school, haven't played football for the junior high, and then their 9th grade year, I want to play football, and now you're trying to build a program around that kid versus the kid that's had 2-3 years of junior high football, building it up and going. Sorry, that's my.
Oh yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. I mean, it just comes to show you what the success of programs. You look at specific programs around the state. And that's why, like the John Curtis's, the Haynesvilles, they all win those state championships every year because I mean, it's just like a process. You know, you gotta believe in the process. And those kids are pretty much born into the process.
Another one's coming up and coming. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna be Mandeville. I mean, I know they're always there, but I know with the new coaching staff they got at Mandeville. I know Hutch did a great job there. I know Guy LeCompte did a good job there. I know a lot of these guys that coach there. You know, they've had success. But I think Mandeville's another school you might want to watch out for in a few years.
Oh yeah, and because he built that, Craig Jones, he really built that program at Lakeshore. He really, I mean, Lakeshore.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and let's put it like this. Lakeshore was a brand new school in Mandeville. Just it was on the other side of town, but it's in Mandeville. It's on the borderline between Mandeville and Covington. He built that program up where those kids could have gone to Mandeville or Covington or Fontainebleau. Fontainebleau lost a lot of kids to Lakeshore. Mandeville lost kids to Lakeshore. Now he's over at Mandeville High School, has all the support around him, all the junior highs around him,
and it's an established school.
Mandeville and Mandeville has nothing. It's not like Lakeshore now has something more to offer that Mandeville didn't. Before, Lakeshore was the only school in the parish that had a turf field. Now every school in the parish has a turf field. I know they're finalizing it this year. But I know Mandeville has a turf field now. Covington has their turf field. So there's nothing that Lakeshore offers that Mandeville doesn't. Education wise, it's all the same across the parish.
Yeah, I know we're going off track here, but this is
Well, I know the state. We know the state. We're both Louisiana guys. We know the state.
We really do.
I live over there. I live in St. Tammany Parish. I mean, I know the state.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I know the timing in Opelousas from the red lights.
Oh yeah,
You drive 38
down.
I got the timing down. You drive 38 miles an hour in Opelousas, you'll miss every single red light.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna try that next time I go to Opelousas. I'm gonna try that.
I know where I'm kind of fat since I got in the military, but off of active duty, but I know where every good hole in the wall joint is. In the state.
Yeah. That's when you need to be the best buddies with somebody in Louisiana. We know all the hole in the wall.
We ought to actually write a book about some of the best places to go around the
Oh yeah. I mean, just those small high school football towns in Louisiana. We're gonna move. Louisiana. We're going to move into Division II non-select, and this bracket, there might be a heavy favorite a lot of other brackets, but not in this one. I think it's really wide open. You're going to see it. The number one seed is Iowa, and this is like really a 3A, 4A type of bracket. They play number 9.
This is where it starts getting confusing for the brackets this year.
Yeah. This is when really you can flip a coin and there's a couple Cinderella teams in here. When you look at Leesville, they finished. They defeated Jennings, who beat Plaquemine in the first round. Was a big upset. And then Leesville, they have a really good running back in Xavier Ford. There might be some.
I think you're underselling Xavier Ford a little bit.
Yeah.
He's a sophomore running back. Yeah. Over 1,000 yards as a 1,000-yard back this year. I mean, he's the son of Michael Ford.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael Ford was
Yeah.
The guy at LSU for.
And there's a Ford running the ball in Leesville. That's pretty good.
Yeah. I see Leesville winning Iowa.
I agree.
This is where it starts getting kind of all right. What were they thinking? Type deals, because you got Iowa is nowhere near the size of school as Leesville.
Well, it comes to PowerPoints, and that's why they're number one. When you're like really a 3A, you play teams that are up in 4A and you win. I mean, Iowa has lost one game this year, and guess what that loss came to?
Who?
Leesville, 30-14. So this is a rematch of that game earlier this year, and I mean I really like Leesville. We talked about Xavier Ford. He's had almost 2,000 yards rushing and 25 touchdowns. It seems like Leesville always has a great running back, and Michael Ford's son is definitely one. And then their defense has been playing really good too. I really like Leesville to beat Iowa. Yeah, I have Leesville defeating Iowa. I know you said that too, so we agree on that. And then we go to the next matchup, and we're a Cinderella team in Burbridge. And Marcus and I talked. Marcus told me that Livonia beat Burbridge in the final game of the regular season. Livonia didn't even make the playoffs. And right now, all of a sudden, Burbridge has really been high. And they're a 28 seed. Hippolyte, their quarterback, Kelby Hippolyte, has had 5 total touchdowns in the game last week in the win against Iota. But they're playing against, talk about a Cinderella run. It would definitely be a Cinderella run if they can somehow, some way defeat
the legend,
the legend Dennis Dunn in North DeSoto, led by their freshman quarterback Luke Delafield, who's really caught fire. He threw 4 touchdowns in a win against Cecilia. And that's a good Cecilia football team. So North DeSoto is one of the favorites in this bracket. And if Burbridge can find a way to defeat North DeSoto, then that'll be a huge upset.
Yes, I like what Zach has done over at Burbridge. Helping you starting to build that program up and starting to get a lot of momentum right now. I met him back. I think it was over the summertime when we was at STM and for a 7-on-7 tournament or matchup. And he's really getting those kids involved. He's really getting those kids motivated and changing those hearts and minds and getting those kids ready to go out there and fire all cylinders. So I like Burbridge. However, I don't see them beating North DeSoto. Dennis Dunn is a legend for a reason. He has all those state championships for a reason.
Right.
And he has a lot of talent at North DeSoto.
Yeah, he does. And if this quarterback is only a freshman and he's lining up like he's doing right now, it's going to be scary what he's going to be looking like in Dennis Dunn's system as a senior,
Well, you look at all the quarterbacks coming out of Dennis Dunn's system over the years.
Yes. All the evangel quarterbacks.
Yeah, all those guys. Look where they're at. All the programs.
Booties.
Yeah.
So that's the top of the bracket, and then we look at the bottom of the bracket here. Now you have Lakeshore and Letcher. Lakeshore with Brent Endes. He won a couple state championships at Catholic New Iberia, going up against Dwayne Jenkins and the Letcher Bulldogs. And the Letcher Bulldogs may even have the best player in this entire bracket, and that's their quarterback, Dwayne Winfield.
Yeah, this is going to be another one of those fast games. Both teams, they run a ball a lot. I was at a Lakeshore game earlier this year when they played Terrebonne. They have a really good running back, young kid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna end up watching really good next year. He's in my backyard, so I'm gonna
Oh
watch
right.
I live in Slide Hill, so I see a lot of these guys. But yeah, so a really good matchup. I don't see Lakeshore beating Lutcher this week, but I think they're gonna give Lutcher everything they got.
Yeah.
Lutcher has got a lot of athletes, like you said, Dwayne Jenkins. Dwayne Winfield is the real deal. There's a reason why he's going to Arizona State.
Right. Division I quarterback for sure, and Dwayne Jenkins has actually coached a lot of quarterbacks that had success. Will Narcisse played at LSU. John Shea Kirkland, played at LSU.
We won't talk about that when they're at LSU though.
He played quarterback in the bowl game.
He did play quarterback in the bowl game.
He
did something neither one of us did.
That's right.
Neither one played at LSU.
That's right. But he said he never coached a guy that really carried a playoff team on his back than Winfield has. And I think he's the guy in this bracket, and he's the best player in this bracket. And I'm gonna have to ride the Letcher Bulldogs. I mean, I actually picked them to win this whole thing.
I think it's gonna be a good matchup. I think it'll be between Letcher and it's gonna be between North DeSoto.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it depends. I think it comes down to that state championship game between North DeSoto and a Letcher team.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna come down to coaching and experience, and I'm gonna go with. I actually pick North DeSoto to win state.
Okay, cool.
But but in this bracket, it's gonna come down to I think coaching and that game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then this is another team we can't count out. That's West Feliciana this year.
Yeah.
They're undefeated this year. Hudson Ford is one of the best play callers out there in the state. Was a former offensive coordinator for Gayford T at Catholic, and they won district this year. Joel Rogers is their quarterback, and he's got a couple. He's an athletic guy like Winfield. He's got some Division I offers, I believe, from Memphis and Florida State. Mm-hmm. He's only a junior, but they got another team that's making Bro Bridge making a Cinderella run. North Vermillion, they're a 20-something, 23 seed, and they did beat Church Point, which, they've been a dominant regular season team. I believe they won 29 straight games in the regular season. Can North Vermillion pull the upset, or West Feliciana just marches on and could be a potential matchup between Letcher?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I kind of picked West Feliciana in this game as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I still, I'm like I said, I was wrong this year. Like I said, next year I'm going 0-12 for LSU. Because this was the worst year I ever had in college games for LSU.
Yeah, maybe LSU goes 12-0 next year because of that. I think with 3-9 and 10-3. Gonna be like switching the records, the win and loss total.
My mother-in-law is not letting me hear the end of that one either.
So you see a North DeSoto Letcher state champ, and I do too, but we have different winners right now. So, but let's see the other teams could prove us wrong. To Division I non-select, and these are the big boys here in Division I. Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep, Zachary's in here. But there's a lot of heavy hitters in this bracket.
Well, I like this first one you're going to talk about, Ruston and Denham Springs. I know you want to mention Denham Springs for a second from last week's game.
Yeah.
But Ruston, I mean, they're a dominant team. I'm very disappointed I won't get to see a Ruston Zachary state championship game, but I definitely want to be at that Zachary Ruston semifinal game.
Oh yeah,
I guess I went out of turn here, didn't I?
Well, I mean, I do.
Two teams I've already.
Yeah, I do agree with you that that's probably the matchup.
Now our office is here in Denham Springs, and I'm looking at our front door. I'm hoping, man, I don't have to walk in my throat.
Brett Beard comes walking in.
Our office. I mean, you can literally see the high school from our door here, so.
Yep.
I'm gonna end up getting a rock through the door this weekend.
But Denham Springs, I mean, like I mentioned, I was going to mention, one of the craziest finishes that you'll ever see. It looked like Benton in the second round game was going to win the game. They had a 2.
That was the fastest kneel ever.
And a
0.4-second kneel.
Yep. Yeah, they had a second on the clock, and it was 4th down from their own 13-yard line. And Gray Walters took the knee for Benton.
It was an 8-yard loss for him.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. So
that was the fastest snap and kneel ever in the history of ever.
0.4 seconds. And
that's faster than a blink of the eye.
and somehow.
Typically, that would be like a 2 or 3 second. But
right.
I'm just saying, I'm just being, trying to be funny here. But
Yeah.
that's the fastest
It really is.
catch, run backwards, and following
Do all that
in a
less than
0.4
a
seconds.
second. Yep. And 0.6 seconds was still left on the clock. And since it was fourth down, as soon as he took the knee, the clock would stop. Left a little bit of time left for Denham Springs to get the field goal kicker out there, and he makes the field goal, and then Denham Springs really shocks everybody, and in that last couple of seconds, and finds a way to really grab from the jaws of defeat, somehow miraculously a victory.
And you can't blame this on home cooking. That's the sad part. Because this was at Berwick.
Yeah, this was at Benton. Yeah,
I'm sorry, not Benton, Berwick. Benton.
Yeah.
And Benton can't even say, "Oh, you're Denham Springs." No, it was at your home, so it was your ref. It was your guys in the press box.
What's that quote? Sometimes you'd rather be lucky than good. And Brett Beard and Denham Springs, you gotta give them credit for winning the football game. It's a
hard fought match.
Yeah,
I mean, I ain't
was.
taking nothing away from it, but 0.4 seconds. I mean, that's kind of crazy. As a coach, you never want to say, okay, this one thing lost the game. There's 60 minutes in the game. Well, in high school, it's 48 minutes in the game. So there's 48 minutes in the game, and one play takes 6 to 9 seconds to run.
Right.
So say 9 seconds out of 48 minutes, if that's what cost you the game. No, there's a lot of other things that went wrong in the game.
Yeah.
There's another 47 minutes and 51 seconds worth of play that went on. That something else went wrong. So I know we're making fun of this.
Yeah.
But if Benton really wanted to get in the game, they could have done something else early in the game. I as a coach,
you can't blame on just one.
No, we're just making fun of. We're just making fun.
Yeah,
of the clock. But
yeah.
But there was 47
other minutes
of the game.
Seconds to figure out
what we could have done differently.
Yeah.
Stop the team on a third down conversion. Or
score in the red zone. Turn the ball. If you turn the ball over, I mean, there's certain
get that first down in that 3rd and long or something. There's something else that could have happened. That would have helped you win that ball game. So we're just making light of the situation.
Yeah, right, pretty much. But that's as crazy as a finish that you'll possibly pretty much ever see in a playoff game.
Right.
And Denham Springs was on the right end of that one, and that finish allowed them to make the quarterfinals for the first time in 37 years for Denham Springs. So
that's why this town is hooping and hollering this week.
Yeah, that's right. There's a little bit excitement in the air, but they have to turn around and face the #1 Ruston High Bearcats.
Now Ruston does have to travel down here and play in Denham Springs' new stadium.
That's right, new stadium.
So they're gonna have to get on the road and travel. Now I don't think this affects Ruston. It's not like a 1A school traveling down here.
Yeah.
This is a big time 5A program that they're gonna rent big, travel buses. They're not taking the Yellowbirds. They're taking the big travel buses, and they're gonna recline back and watch TVs, and they have a seat to themselves versus riding that green seat Yellowbird, sitting next to another sweaty guy.
Right. So it's gonna be a pleasant drive.
Right. So it's not gonna affect
a movie on the way back.
They can get them stretch out.
Yeah.
So.
But Denham Springs, talk about probably biggest games, especially for this new stadium, one of the biggest games they've ever played in.
Well, I yes and no. Now, Denham Springs does have to play Zachary.
Yep.
So
if they somehow get past Ruston, right?
Well, I mean, Zachary was in their district last year.
Mm-hmm.
So just we're saying Ruston, but they've had to face the #1 team in the state every year in their own district. This year they're not the same. They got lucky this year not having to play Zachary in their district, but in years past they had to play Zachary.
Yep.
And so Zachary's another big time program. So which we're fixing to talk about next.
Yeah. Well, the talent is there for Brett Beard's team, and there's a lot of talent.
Reese Altman is really good.
Mm-hmm.
He signed. I think he committed to Liberty University.
Reese Moody is.
Reese Moody.
Yeah, Reese Moody.
Yeah. Reese Moody committed to Liberty. He was committed to Vanderbilt for a quick hot minute.
Mm-hmm.
Really talented quarterback. They've got a big line there. They have
McNeil's a good running back for him too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ray is a really good back. So they have. I think he's got offers to every FBS program in the country.
Yep.
So they have a lot of talent at Denham Springs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they're gonna have to play their A game because Ruston's been really good. Dyson Fields had 5 touchdowns in the last game against Washita. Jaden Osborne. The thing I think was held Ruston back is they couldn't be able to throw the ball enough to get him over the hump. But I think Jaden Osborne and Aaron Jackson's a good receiver for him, and I think that they've always been known for running the ball and playing good defense, but they just get a little bit production from the passing game that can get them over the hump. And right now this year. And they played pretty much everybody. They played LCA. They defeated LCA. They defeated Neville. They defeated Ash. They defeated Washita. They did twice. They defeated West Monroe this year twice. So only loss came to Warren Easton. But this is a really good football team in Ruston, and this is one of their best chances probably since the '90s as far as them winning a state championship.
Well, next week.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what's going to come down to. We'll talk about at Zachary. These are the kings in 5A with David Brewerton and what they're able to build this year. Any chance? I mean, Southside won their first district championship. They defeated Acadiana and Carencro to get it, which is very impressive enough. They won their first playoff game. Is there any chance for Zachary for Southside to put themselves in position and get an upset where Zachary, as far as a fine-tuned oil machine that they are, could come and get a win?
I mean, in a game like this, it's a 50-50 shot. You have a 50-50 chance until that last whistle blows, because you always can do something. I mean, a fumble recovery, a interception, or a pick six, something can always happen. Now, will it? I don't know. I would pick Zachary over Southside just because.
Yeah.
Zachary's more experienced. They got a lot of big time wins this year.
Yeah.
I was at the Zachary Woodlawn game earlier this year, and I saw the talent that Zachary has.
Yeah.
They have a lot of talent. They're big up front. They're physical. They're not as big as I thought they would be, but they're still big.
Right.
Those two ends are the real deal.
Ashley Williams, and you have Thomas, AJ Thomas. Yep.
So they're the real deal. I like their DBs over at Zachary as well.
Colin Jackson, LSU committed.
Quarterback wise, I'm not too sold on him. I think he's a bust. Okay. I'm just joking, Eli. Just because you're going to Alabama, okay? You have to face my Tigers every week, so
right.
I'm gonna. That's the only reason I'm saying that. It's just a joke. Oh well, Bo.
David Brewerton and
he just. I just felt the hair on the back of his neck just raised up when I said that. I felt that, even though I'm at home in Slidell every time he watches this. But no, they are an extremely good program. Like I said, they beat a good Woodlawn program. There was a lot of questionable calls in that game. I thought could have changed the outcome of that game a little bit. But they're a good football program. I see them beating Southside.
Yeah, me too.
And playing the state championship in the semifinals.
Yeah.
Because I think that's really the state championship in the 5A football.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just because Zachary, just the program that they have, they're built to they've done it every year, make these long, deep playoff runs, and
that one loss that Zachary has, that really burned him a little bit.
Yeah, they lost to my alma mater late in the season, Catholic. So
I was drawing a blank of who they lost to.
That was a really good. I mean, as far as a college atmosphere as it gets, that was a pretty close to a college atmosphere for that game between Catholic and Zachary.
That one loss burned them pretty bad to be in this side of the bracket. Had it been number 2, I think the state championship would be Zachary and Ruston.
Yeah. So we go to that bottom side, and where we see potentially a Ruston.
I'm gonna get some hate mail from the bottom side of this bracket here.
Well, let's see what we have on the bottom side. So we have Destrehan and East St. John. Billy, who's done a good job taking photos for us this year, he was at the game, Destrehan and East St. John, the first time these two teams played. They're district opponents, so they're familiar with each other. But Destrehan, I mean, they won that by a wide margin the first time, 48-7. John Eugene had 5 touchdowns in the last win against Dutchtown. But East St. John's having a good season. They faltered down the stretch a little bit, but they picked it up with a big win against Houghton last week. But it's hard to ignore that first time that they played with the score being that wide.
Yeah, I think Destrehan gets the W this week again, just because they know each other very well. But I do will say this about East St. John. East St. John, they've got a lot of good prospects down there. Their head coach contacted us about getting their kids in a bowl game.
Yep.
They have a lot of good kids. Gillier, safety down there is really fast,
Right.
really good prospect. I think he's being recruited by a bunch of D2 schools, I believe it is. So there's a lot of good program. It's a really good program.
And then we go to the bottom, the last matchup, and I was actually on Neville's Tiger Network and talked a little bit about the East Ascension game because I covered the East Ascension game for Gridiron when they played West Washita. But Neville, they really matched to East Ascension's physicality, and they really put them on them. 31-9. There was a play made in the game. I saw the highlight of it, but Matthew Fobbs-White, their star defensive lineman for Neville, came and hit the Tulane commit for East Ascension in the backfield, kind of what Clowney did at South Carolina. Made that big hit, and that play pretty much described what kind of game it was for Neville. I think they held East Ascension to only 180 yards of offense. Really shut them down. East Ascension was only 1 of 21 on third down. That's unbelievable there. And then they're next up though for Neville. They're gonna have to play Westgate, who defeated Slidell 28-7. They got a really good defensive back, and Derek Williams is committed to Texas. And
you saw Westgate in the regular season.
Yep.
What did you think of Westgate earlier this year?
Yeah, so watching them earlier this year, I saw them against Turlings Catholic, and in that game, what did hamper them a lot in that game was they couldn't really be able to throw the football consistently down the field. They have really good running backs. They got Antoine's a good athlete at quarterback too, but they need to, in order to win games like this against Neville, they're going to have to throw the football. So I'm curious to see how much they've really improved since the last time I did see them play against Turlings Catholic.
In the 5A district, in the 5A here, I would see a Neville versus a Ruston at the end in the state championship. They already let the dogs out on that one there, didn't they?
But I tell you, I think Destrehan has something to say.
I know they have something to say about it, but I think Neville's is gonna shut them up.
Okay.
And no disrespect, I know I'm joking a lot.
Yeah, right.
Some people may not know me, but Destrehan's a good program. I'm not saying nothing negative, but Neville, I see Neville going back to the state championship, getting back to the ways of few years ago when they was in there all the time.
Yeah, it was like in the car and Neville,
right.
Neville was always in there. I'm gonna go with Destrehan, and I'm gonna say Ruston. in the state championship. I'm gonna make it a little different. I think this is Ruston's
Well, that's
year.
what I called Neville and Ruston.
Yep.
So none of us have Zachary going to state championship.
That's crazy, huh?
That is crazy.
I mean, that's pretty crazy to think about, but I mean, I like Ruston this year. I really do. I think last year I did pick him to go really far, but I think I was a year too early on Ruston. But
I don't know if it's fair or not because we both cover a lot of South Louisiana teams because our offices are in Baton Rouge.
Yep.
And we see a lot of these South Louisiana teams. We're not able to get up there and see those North Louisiana teams as much as we'd like. I try a lot. I put a lot of miles on the car every year. This year not so many, but it's just. We see all these South Louisiana teams, and we should be picking them to win it. But here we are, we're both picking North Louisiana teams.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if it's Neville and Ruston, that's an I-20 matchup.
Yeah, it is. It really is. So, I mean, it could happen. I mean, I can see Zachary obviously being Ruston and Zachary playing Destrehan or something. I mean, it's just we can get so many different matchups right.
Yeah, and here we can. But I still wish that Zachary had been number 2, and that way the state championship would have most likely been Ruston and Zachary.
Mm-hmm. And Westgate, they're defending 4A state champs. I mean, they beat Car last year in the semis. They beat Warren Easton.
That's 4A. That's football. This is 5A.
Yeah, it's 5A. But those 4A teams that beat are kind of like 5A teams.
Now I'm gonna pick a 4A team to win it all this year on another bracket.
Yep. That's true. So, sneak preview of what's to come. So, we'll go down to... So, we finished all of the non-select teams, and we'll actually go to select here. Division. Division 4 select, and this is with 1A still. If you look 1A on the private side, and Vermilion Catholic plays Southern Lab. Vermilion Catholic's undefeated, but they're going to play probably the toughest opponent.
Yeah, they're going to get their first loss this week. No offense. Like I said at the beginning of the show, just because I pick against you doesn't mean I don't like you. It's just means the other team is I got more faith in them winning this week.
Yep. This bulletin board material for really every team we go against.
Put my face on the side of your doctor and say, look, this guy said you don't have a chance.
Yeah. Right.
Prove me wrong. I love being proven wrong.
Well, Southern Labs just
Southern Lab is a solid team, and then the next one is St. Mary's and
St. Martin's.
And St. Mary's and St. Martin, and again, that's going to be a good matchup as well.
Yeah.
I like the young man plays quarterback Parker for St. Mary's.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with St. Mary's in this.
I agree. I know St. Martin's has a really good running back in Harlem Berry, who's a future Tiger. You'll see. He's only a sophomore. LSU offered him. But I like Adam Parker. I like the veteran leadership of this team. I think they're a little bit more experienced. I'm going to go with St. Mary's, too.
Yep. I'd say that as well.
So we agree with the time. top side, we'll go to the bottom side, and this is a team that we're accustomed to seeing go to the state
OCS.
championship.
Yeah, they're always in the top part of the brackets. They're always gonna be there. So yeah, OCS another one this week. I know they're playing Glenbrook. I think like you said, Glenbrook this is a new team in the LHSA system.
Yeah.
I think they came over from the Mississippi,
MAIS?
yeah, the
Yep.
Mississippi private school. So OCS, but I think this is where Glenbrook ends their season
Yeah.
against a big successful program
Yeah.
like OCS.
You can't argue against Stephen Fitzhugh and his 6 state championships over
Yeah.
there at Washita Christian, and Landon Grace is a good quarterback for him. I'm gonna go with Washita Christian, and then Ascension Catholic and Opelousas Catholic.
That's kind of the game. That's
Yeah.
kind of going to be the game this week for this bracket.
Mhm.
Both are really good programs. I love both those programs. Both have great coaching staffs. I'm gonna go with Opelousas Catholic, the other
Okay.
OCS, just because I know what the coach has done there.
Mhm.
I've seen those kids. I've seen those kids every year. I like going to Opelousas and seeing what those small town big kids.
And that was impressive what Opelousas Catholic did last week, because they played Central Catholic. They're the number 2 seed. DeMontre Blackburn, the running back, had over 2,000 yards rushing this year, and they shut him down. They only had like 40 yards rushing. And to upset a team as the number 2 seed and beat them by 40 points, that's a statement win. Coach David and Opelousas Catholic did. And
David, that's his name.
Yeah.
I'm drawing. I'm sitting
Yeah.
there saying coach. I can't remember.
Yep. Yep. So Coach David over there, and then you look at I called Ascension Catholic's game against Episcopal, so I'm familiar with Ascension Catholic, and they got the 2 brothers, the 2 Leonard's brothers, a quarterback and receiver. They got a lot of weapons at Ascension Catholic. I really like their offense, and it gives really a lot of defenses in this, especially in this classification, a lot of problems. I'm gonna go. I think it's gonna be a really good game, but I'm gonna go with Ascension Catholic.
Okay.
Yep. Are you gonna go with Opelousas Catholic?
Yes,
or?
I'm going
Okay.
Opelousas Catholic.
Okay, cool. So, but I think that game can go either way. But I see potentially here, I see Washita Christian, and I see Southern Lab. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is actually a rematch of last year.
Yeah, that's kind of who I've seen as well.
So we go to Division 3 here, Division 3 Select. I gotta get our, ugly faces off camera. There we go. Division 3, I'm familiar with this bracket because that's for VSN. I appreciate Andy too for allowing me to still do that for VSN, call a lot of Episcopal's games. So I'm really familiar with this bracket, and it's a pretty good bracket here on Division 3 Select. First game is a lot of big names. You got Newman, you got Arch Manning, you got U-High, you got Osbury, you got Keelan Moses. There's a lot of big names in this matchup, but in this type of matchup with Arch Manning against really athletic defenses, that's always proven to be a bad matchup for the Newman Greens.
Yeah, I know Coach Stewart's going to be upset with me when I say this, but I think they're outmatched against the U-High.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think they match up well against the U-High team. I know Arch Manning is the #1 quarterback in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I feel that's because of his last name.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nothing against the kid. He's
He's
a great kid.
Yeah, he's a great quarterback too.
But he just doesn't read the defense as well as he should be to be the #1 overall quarterback. When you say the #1 overall quarterback in a nation, you would expect a little bit more out of that. but I think he's a great kid. I think he's a every bit of a 4-star prospect. He's a Texas kid. You know, he's a kid.
He's a Power 5.
He's a Power 5 guy.
Yeah.
He's for sure. But he's gonna have to get some coaching at the next level to get better. Because whenever they played Manny, Tackett is kind of he kind of beat them single-handedly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Newman does have some good tight ends, and they do have some receivers.
Yeah.
And they have Arch Manning, the number one quarterback.
Yeah.
And when you say they went to Manny and they lost to Manny,
Yeah.
smaller school.
Yeah, I covered a game last year in the playoffs, and it was LCA and Newman, and LCA was too much for Newman to handle. So it's
Again,
been these type of defenses like U-High has given them problems.
Yeah, I saw U-High already play this year against Woodlawn, and again, that's a very physical defense. They're extremely good. They're extremely fast. They get to the ball well. They tackle well. They gang tackle. Offensively, again, they're going to run the ball at you. They got a decent quarterback. He's not Arch by no stretch of the imagination, but he's a decent quarterback. He's a college prospect type quarterback. He's just not a Power 5 guy like Arch. I just don't think that. I think this is where Newman ends the road.
Well, let's see. This is Arch Manning's final run at state championship. Him and Nelson Stewart.
I think it's Arch Manning's final game.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So,
and like I said, it's nothing against him.
Yep.
It's just that. Again, you're looking at, U-High has, at every position there's a
They got D1 linebackers. They got
D1 receivers.
D1
offensive lineman, D1 defensive lineman.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
D1 DBs.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be tough, and I do agree with you. I see U-High. It just has been a matchup in years past that Newman has really struggled with, and I think they don't really match up great with U-High. But I have U-High. Actually, I think from the very beginning, I had U-High winning the whole thing.
Now with the bracket series to come out, the next game we're going to talk about, I think that's going to be a good.
Oh yeah.
Sturdy matchup for them next week.
Oh yeah.
Because you got Calvary and Dunham playing this week, and I think Calvary is gonna beat Dunham this week.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Dunham, local team for us here in Baton Rouge.
I'm very familiar with
you covered them this
year.
year.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't. I know what Calvary's done. I've been up there and seen them play. Again, that's another well-oiled machine. They've got that thing rolling up there in Shreveport.
Yep.
Or just south of Shreveport, but again, that's a good program. I see U-High playing Calvary in this quarterfinals here, or semifinals next week.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I mean, Dunham, just give a shout out to them because Neil Weiner and that team, they've been really good this year. A veteran team, Jackson House is the quarterback. That's Matt House's son, the LSU defensive coordinator. And they're pretty good up front on the offensive and defensive line too.
Got a really good tight end and defensive end.
The defensive end, Jake Rizzo, that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a physical football team. So Calvary may get the win, but may get beat up because of it, because how physical they are. But I like Calvary, like you mentioned. Abram Wardell's a quarterback. They've always had great quarterbacks, and Abram's another one, and then James Simone.
As long as
not
too. As long as Coach ain't up there padding stats again.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we were talking. Yeah, that's right. A couple years ago, as well with
last year.
Yeah, Liddy. Yeah, that's right.
Don't play it all. Come on. Now.
Landry Liddy. I remember all that.
I'm just busting chops.
Yeah.
Things happen. I mean, you're trying to sell your kid. You want to do the best you can to sell your kid to go to college. So I mean, it is what it is.
So we go to the bottom, and Yep, I'm gonna be on the call for that one. Notre Dame and Episcopal.
Ooh, that's gonna be a good game.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good game. Episcopal. It was not pretty. It was 7-0 entering the fourth quarter. Episcopal scored 10 points. They scored the game-winning field goal with like a minute left to go in the entire game, and they found a way to claw their way and get that win. Now they have to play Louis Cook and Notre Dame. Travis Bourgeois and Louis Cook probably combined for a good 500 wins total. They've been coaching a long time, both of them. And Episcopal, I call their games, so I'm very familiar with them. They're very young offensively, which kudos to this coaching staff, because a lot of it they had to replace a lot of those guys that were seniors last year. They have a sophomore at running back. They have a junior at running back too. His name's Braden George, and he's a Division I player. Like he's going to be a really good one. He is a Division I prospect for him. They're led by a senior quarterback, but majority of the team is young. So really an outstanding coaching job this year by this coaching staff to get them in the quarterfinals for the third time in a row. But Notre Dame,
they're used to being here.
Used to being here.
So they're used to winning. So, yeah, I would see Notre Dame actually, knocking you guys out of the playoffs this year.
Well, I guess I can't call this one because I am calling the game for him. So I'm going to just stay away from my pick.
You want to keep your job.
Yeah, I want to keep my job. So I'm going to stay away like Kirk Herbstreit does on game day when he doesn't pick the games he calls. So I'm going to just say that it's going to be a really good football game at Notre Dame. So I can definitely see that game going either way.
Yeah, I would see Notre Dame winning that game, but it's going to be a good game regardless.
Oh, so we go to our last matchup, and St. Charles Catholic and Parkview Baptist. Parkview Baptist, a very impressive win.
Yeah, they have Parkview Baptist has quite a few good young guys.
Yeah.
Quite a few talented guys. However, I see St. Charles Catholic winning this game just because they're a very talented program. They're always here. I just see St. Charles Catholic walking away with this win against Parkview.
Yeah, I do as well. And the way I see it, Andy, is St. Charles Catholic and U High. I mean, that could very well be a state championship game.
That very well could be a state championship game. It'd be a good one too.
Oh yeah, I mean both those defenses.
Speed versus power.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because everybody at St. Charles Catholic, they run 4.3s, 4.4s.
Oh yeah.
Those River Parish schools, they're extremely fast.
Yeah.
And so you got a team like that against a U High team.
That's a good matchup.
It'd be a fun matchup to be at. I can't be at the Dome.
Yeah, and both are well coached teams too. They're not only talented, but they're very well coached, and those guys are always in position, especially defensively. So that should be a great. If you like good defense, I think that's going to be a really good football game to watch. If it happens, we'll see if any of the other teams knock it out. So. We have two more brackets left, Andy, and we're pretty much done. So we go to the Division II on the top side of the bracket. Our Tower Barrows, our own Tower Barrows is covering Madison Prep. They're still in the playoffs, and he covered like myself, he covered a defensive slugfest. 6-0 was a win over St. Louis.
They said it was a 0-0 up to the very end.
To the very end, the game-winning play. It was scoreless until they're going to score. I guarantee you this: they're gonna have to score more than 6 points to beat St. Thomas more. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, Coach Williams, he's a great coach. He's a legend here in Baton Rouge. But I think this is where they're gonna come in short right here. Mm-hmm. Not because they don't have a lack of talent, it's because I don't think they have the experience to play. To continue on this year's playoffs. The quarterback's a sophomore. This is his first year to have a.
He's gonna be a good one. Yeah.
He's already proven he's a good one. Mm-hmm. So I mean. He's every bit as good as Zion was for them. So I see, but however, going against this St. Thomas More kid, had a chance to talk to had a chance to talk to Shane.
Yeah, Shane Savoy.
Savoy over there back over the summertime, and Shane was telling me that they have over 200 prospects or 200
yeah.
players on that football program.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, they have a machine over
Oh, yeah.
there. So I see St. Thomas More going back to the state championship game here.
Well, late in the season.
I'll be honest with you. I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be a Lafayette state championship.
Oh
game
yeah,
in this bracket.
yeah. And I was just going to say, like, we had myself and Marcus on last week's show. We talked to Coach Sadwell and their quarterback Sam Altman,
Mhm.
and late in the season they played Turlings and they played Westgate. They played LCA back to back to back and won all three of those games. So
Mhm.
when you're ending the regular season on a stretch like that and winning
Mhm.
those games, you're feeling pretty confident. And right now, St. Thomas More is. And also, Madison Prep beat them last year. So St. Thomas More, a lot of those guys were on that team. That was when Walker Howard played against Zion. So I know that they want to get revenge on Madison Prep too. So I really like Madison Prep to move on. And then Edie White and John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy's having a year coming out of nowhere. They're having a phenomenal year this year.
Really good year. You want to say Cinderella story? That's the Cinderella
Yeah,
story.
that's a Cinderella story in this bracket. And John F.
I would say that's Cinderella story in the state. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
that is the team.
Yeah.
But I think their story comes to end this week against Edie White.
Yeah.
Edie
Only
White-
loss came to Marcus and Woodlawn. That was their only loss this season.
Yeah, Edie White. They run the ball strong, but they do it very well. So,
Yeah, they do.
they may throw the ball maybe twice a game, but they're gonna run that ball, and I mean they're gonna win this game.
And which could set up St. Thomas More and Edie White. And last year that was a semifinal game won by Edie White. So we can definitely see that matchup again 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
We go to the bottom side, and we're talking a lot about Lafayette. There's a lot of Lafayette right here on the bottom side of the bracket.
Mm-hmm.
But that first matchup is very intriguing. De La Salle and LCA. De La Salle, PJ Martin is their running back. This year, what a year he's had. He set records for most yards in the season, career, touchdowns in the season, touchdowns in the career, one of the leading rushers in the state. De La Salle is undefeated, but you're going to have to go for a juggernaut in LCA.
Yeah, I was say LCA is a juggernaut. They're gonna, I think they're gonna win this game as well.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, I said a Lafayette State Championship game. I think it's gonna be LCA versus STM. I mean, you got Turlings Catholic right below it, and I think they're gonna be Turling Catholic versus LCA, which is a district game.
Yeah, right.
Know, in the semifinals. Which is how strong is that district when you get three of the three district competitors.
Oh, I know.
And the semifinals.
It's unbelievable. I mean, you look at it, and we can
definitely see LCA and STM.
I mean, all going to be playing for state championships. I mean, it's really crazy to see now. Hank Tierney, who comes back, his return back to Shaw.
Oh man, what a difference that has made this year for Shaw. I mean, they turned their program back around, got it back up on it, rolling again. I mean, but I think this is where, like I said, this is where I think they lose. The Turlings Catholic, the Turlings is rolling people this year. They're a great program.
Yeah.
But can't say enough about what they've done at Shaw this year.
Yeah, I saw Turlings play this year, and that's when they beat Westgate. But I've been very impressed with them. The reason why that they've been so good this year is that they can beat you multiple different ways. Their quarterback's really good, the receiver's really good. But in that game I saw at Westgate, they ran the ball and played defense. So they can beat you in different ways, and they defeated LCA this year. They did lose to St. Thomas More, but yeah, I mean it's going to be a good game.
So moving on to the next bracket, the last one.
Last one. It took us a while, but we're finally getting there. And this is
Well, I guess it's gonna get faster and faster for the next couple of weeks as the bracket.
Oh yeah. It'll get faster.
But then again, if me and you both went on this show, I don't know. This show might get longer and longer because we know everybody on every team. And, you know, we know every kid, and it's just what we do. Maybe it's shorter when you and Marcus, and that way you can...
But one more thing before we go to Division One, I really like LCA, and if you look at the top side of the bracket, I think it's gonna be St. Thomas More. It's gonna be like I said, Lafayette.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's gonna be LCA and STM in the state championship.
Okay, so we go to
acronyms in the state championship.
Yeah, that's right. Acronyms. That's right. Acronyms. Three letters in the state championship. So we go to Division One Select. So the cream of the crop, and it comes to the
Warren Easton and Karen.
Warren Easton and Karen Crow. And
so I saw Warren Easton play Woodlawn in this spring. I can't remember if it was in August or if it was back spring football. But I saw Warren Easton earlier this year. They have a great quarterback. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. We covered him all spring.
Kedrick
Yes. Mm-hmm. So we covered him during the spring. I covered him during 7-on-7s this summer or this spring. Really good quarterback for Warren Easton. They're very physical up front. They're very fast on the edge. They hit hard. They play hard. They're a good program. And I think they're gonna win to beat Karen Crow. Even though Karen Crow again is another juggernaut football team, this is gonna be a great matchup. So get your popcorn and soda pop ready for this game.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good game. And Karen Crow, they got revenge on the Acadiana last week. I was actually at the regular season game between both those two teams, and Karen Crow lost on a 2-point conversion stop. So they got revenge on Acadiana the next week. And Warren Easton, Jerry Phillips, they're on a mission this year. They've been really good this year, and they've been so close to winning a state championship. They've always made the state championship and come just this close, and they're going to try to give everybody a run for their money. So we go to our next matchup, and I'm sure there's a bright spot for Marcus because knowing that Brother Martin's actually making a run right now.
Yeah, they beat St. Aug last week, and now they're going to play. Northwood's coming to Slidell to play Brother Martin now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I might want to go to. Man,
you might change your mind, huh?
I can drive 2 miles to that game, or I can drive 300 miles to the other game.
yeah, you're actually kind of conflict right now. You can't go wrong with either game. It's going to be a really good game.
It's going to depend if my wife watches the show or not.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point too. Now with Northwood, they got a really good quarterback in Mason Welsh, and they've run the ball pretty good this year as well with their running back Quintavian White. But Brother Martin, they have Torrey Lambert. That was the guy that really killed Woodlawn in that game, and he's I think committed to play at Texas State for football as a running back. And Clayton Leonardo is kind of like a Taysom Hill for Brother Martin. He plays quarterback, running back, receiver, whatever they need him to play. But I think with Brother Martin, with just that experience of playing all these teams, I have them beating Northwood in this round.
Yeah. I think I'd go the opposite direction with Brother Martin over Northwood. I like Northwood because, like you said, you got the big defensive end from Northwood. It's extremely good. I think he's committed to Texas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sugar Bear. They call him a nickname like Bear.
But he's extremely good. We've had him in a magazine, I think, 3 months ago,
Yeah,
and he's an
about.
extremely good football player. Brother Martin, though, they've played good, sound football. Anytime they beat Woodlawn, I think they're gonna have a chance.
Yeah.
Because Woodlawn is just so loaded, but I think Brother Martin pulls out the victory this week.
It could be a new, like Warren Easton and Brother Martin, two teams that are familiar with each other. The top side of the bracket. Now we go to the bomb side of the bracket. Boy, we got some big
Heavy hitter here,
heavy
John
hitters.
Curtis and C.E. Bird.
Yep.
I look at Bird winning this game, but that's a long road trip from Shreveport down to New Orleans.
Yeah.
But that's gonna be a good matchup. I mean, like I said before, this is not a Yellowbird ride. They're gonna have a luxury bus, but
Yeah.
but still, this matchup is gonna be a good matchup. I think Bird comes out the victor in this one here.
Okay.
Then again, you just never know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with John Curtis here. I mean, I can't go
I guess
against.
you know.
yeah. I can't go against JT. But I mean, this is gonna be another quick game for sure. I can definitely see this being like in the 2
hour and a half, 2 hours.
2 hour game. But I think the travel makes a difference. I think it's really a coin flip between these two teams. But I'm gonna go with with John Curtis having to stay at home and that long trip to have its effect. So I'm gonna go with John Curtis here. And then the last one, boy, get your popcorn ready for this one.
Yeah, Edna Carr versus Catholic. This is gonna be the game. I'm gonna go with Edna Carr on this one here. Nothing against Catholic, but
Yeah.
I think Edna Carr. I mean, their only 3 losses were because of forfeit.
Yeah.
But
And they beat Warren Easton, which was one, in that forfeit.
yeah, so I go with Edna Carr for this game. Again, their quarterback is phenomenal. He's a
AJ.
he's a speed guy. He can either burn you through the air or burn you on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
They beat a Catholic last year, and I think they beat them the year before, if I'm not mistaken.
I know one year when these two teams played, Catholic had their way with them, and I think another time in the car.
Okay, so last year they beat them. They beat them last
Yeah.
year. I know they beat them last
Yeah.
year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know that was one of Catholic's losses last year's Carr.
Yeah.
So you got another rematch again this year. So another big time program, 2 big time programs.
Big time this is a state championship game right here.
Yeah, this is one of those games you wish the brackets. You
Yeah,
wish
well,
that Edna Carr was number 1 right now with the brackets.
We would have seen this in the dome.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I mean next week. I mean this week for the state championship. This week's the state championship game.
Oh yeah,
bracket.
I
right
agree.
Here.
Whoever wins this game is going to be winning the state championship. I totally agree.
Right.
Now.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else up is going to beat either one of those two teams.
I agree. As good as these other teams are, I mean, I agree.
Talent wise, they're depth. Like I said, both teams are got talented quarterbacks. Both teams are deep at receiver.
Yeah.
Both teams are deep on the
right.
lines.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams are deep on defensive lines.
Both are well coached. I mean,
both are well coached.
Yeah.
They both got kickers. They both got they can field the ball well. They play the ball well. They do everything perfectly on the field. So these two teams, this should have been the state championship game. So
Yep.
theoretically, if you're in the Baton Rouge area, this is the game you want to be at.
Oh yeah, this is definitely the game that you want to be in. I guarantee you, we're gonna have somebody take pictures. I might get Jason or Billy or something. We're gonna have somebody at this game. I guarantee it on Friday.
Oh, I know there's gonna be at least somebody there.
Yeah, there'll be somebody. There'll be somebody there representing us for Friday at Memorial Stadium in the huge game. Now, I think, well, being a Catholic guy, don't put all
Yeah,
my
you can't-
Catholic
you can't-
guys.
You can't root against being a Catholic, can you?
Yeah, I can't root against them, and really, I think the difference is I heard AJ Samuel, the quarterback you're talking about, he's dealing with a little bit of a shoulder issue.
Mhm.
So, and then actually the Scotlandville game, Scotlandville played right with them. 34-26 was the final score, and Samuel was actually had to come in. They're trying to really nurse that injury. He actually came in and led the comeback. So.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
I
could
know
be
that
the
young man.
difference.
I know that young man personally. And me and
Uh-huh.
Marcus have had him in this
Yeah.
office
Mhm.
on the whiteboard right there,
Yeah.
and Talk Talks. And that young man is the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
If he was probably 3 or 4 inches taller, I mean,
He'll be in the same conversation as
as Dwayne Winfield or
Holstein, and
Holstein or anything.
Manning and Collins. You know, he'll be in that same
Ricky
conversation.
Collins.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the real deal. He's a
Mhm.
good quarterback. He's a tough kid. So his shoulder might be a little injured right now, but I can guarantee you, but that football team is back, and they're gonna win that football game.
Well, get your
Oh,
popcorn.
I can't guarantee. You can't make a guarantee, but what I'm saying is they're gonna play that
Oh
game.
yeah, it's going to be a coin flip.
There's no such thing as a guarantee in football.
Well, Andy, I think that is about it. We're trying to get back to see our beautiful selves. There we go. And this is pretty much wrapping up for the show, Andy. And I think we breezed. I wouldn't say we breezed through it, but we went through it.
No, when you get two talking heads like you and me, we're not gonna breeze through nothing because we both. Like I said, you know, when you start talking about the red light timing and Opelousas, you kind of know the state pretty well.
Playoff bracket show, yeah.
You know, so I think next week what we ought to do is start doing around the state tour of the best eateries. You know.
Yeah, that would be.
Hey, if you're looking for a sponsorship idea, just go ahead and call me because I like to eat. So. Well, we want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving this week.
Oh yeah.
On Thursday, so stay safe out there. All you guys out there practicing on Thursday, you know, eat light lunch.
Take it easy.
And then be ready for Friday. Don't play basketball this week while you're at home. You know, make sure you're staying healthy and make sure you're not getting doing anything stupid. But yeah, y'all have a safe Thanksgiving, and you see one of me or one of my staff guys out on the field, just tell them hi and tell them you appreciate what they do. They do a lot of work for your kids, and I just can't thank Jace and our whole staff enough for what they do. But yeah, thank you guys, and you guys have a great and happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, y'all too as well, and I appreciate Andy as well. I mean, he's the guy. I mean, he's our boss. He's our head honcho guy. He doesn't like to take the spotlight and everything,
Well,
but you know, like we can't do this without him. And what he does for his kids is just incredible. So when y'all see Andy, make sure y'all tell him thank you for all the stuff.
I'm
he
going
does.
home this week. Nobody's gonna tell me thank you for nothing.
Well, if y'all do bump into him in the grocery store, you know, you can tell him that.
So anyways, but yeah, thank you guys for watching. We look forward to doing this again next week.
Oh, yeah?
And don't spend all your money on Friday.